Nancy Wheeler is the hero, the investigative journalist, the girl who fights for justice. But there's one thing everyone ignores about Nancy, something she's been hiding since season 1. Nancy didn't just feel guilty about Barb's death. Deep down, she wanted it to happen. And before you close this video, hear me out, because this isn't about Nancy being a villain. It's about survivor's guilt, with a psychological twist that changes everything. Let's go back to the beginning. Season 1, Episode 1. Nancy is about to go to Steve's party, and Barb doesn't want her to go. Barb says it's a bad idea. She says Steve's friends are jerks. She says Nancy is changing, and not in a good way. But Nancy goes anyway. She leaves Barb sitting alone by the pool. She goes upstairs with Steve. She loses her virginity. And while she's doing that, Barb gets taken by the Demogorgon. And Nancy's first reaction isn't just sadness. It's relief. Not relief that Barb is dead, but relief that she's finally free. Free from what? Free from her old life. Because here's what nobody talks about. Barb wasn't just Nancy's best friend. She was Nancy's past. Barb represented everything Nancy was trying to escape. The good girl who follows the rules. The nerdy friend who studies on Friday nights. The version of Nancy who never took risks. And psychologically, that's called identity conflict. Nancy was caught between two worlds. The old Nancy who Barb knew and the new Nancy who wanted to be popular. And as long as Barb was around, Nancy couldn't fully become the person she wanted to be, because Barb was a living reminder of who she used to be. So when Barb disappeared, part of Nancy felt guilty, but another part felt liberated. And that's the secret Nancy's been carrying for 5 seasons. She didn't want Barb to die, but she wanted Barb to go away. And when the Upside Down took her, it gave Nancy exactly what she unconsciously wished for. Now let's talk about what happened next. Nancy spent season 1 searching for Barb. She risked her life to find justice. She exposed the lab. She became a warrior. And everyone says that's proof she loved Barb. But psychologically, it's more complicated. Because Nancy wasn't just fighting for Barb. She was fighting to erase her guilt. This is called compensatory behavior. When you feel guilty about something, you do extreme things to prove you're not a bad person. Nancy became obsessed with justice, not just because Barb deserved it, but because Nancy needed to prove to herself that she wasn't responsible, that she wasn't the girl who chose a boy over her best friend, that she wasn't relieved when Barb disappeared. But here's the truth, she was. And season 2 showed it. Because once Barb's parents got closure, Nancy moved on. She didn't talk about Barb anymore. She focused on her relationship with Jonathan. She focused on the mind flayer. Barb became a chapter in her past, not the defining tragedy of her life. And that's not because Nancy's heartless. It's because Nancy did what she unconsciously wanted all along. She let go of the person holding her back. Now let's look at season 3 and 4. Nancy becomes a journalist. She fights sexism at the Hawkins Post. She investigates Vecna. She leads the mission to kill him. And everyone celebrates her as a badass. But notice something. Nancy never mentions Barb. Not once in season 3. Not once in season 4. Barb's name doesn't come up. Her photo isn't on Nancy's wall. There's no memorial, no lingering grief. Barb is completely erased from Nancy's story. And psychologically, that's called selective memory. Nancy has rewritten her past to remove the parts that make her uncomfortable. Because if she thinks about Barb too much, she has to confront the truth that she chose Steve over her best friend, that she ignored Barb's warnings, that part of her felt free when Barb was gone. And Nancy can't live with that, so she buries it. She turns Barb into a cause instead of a person. She fights for justice in Barb's name, but she doesn't actually grieve her. Because grieving means feeling, and feeling means confronting the guilt. And the guilt is too heavy. So here's the psychology of Nancy Wheeler. She's not a hero, she's a survivor. And survivors do whatever it takes to keep moving forward, even if that means erasing the people who remind them of their mistakes. Even if that means rewriting history so they're always the good guy. Even if that means turning their guilt into a weapon so they never have to feel it. But here's the twist. Nancy's not wrong for feeling this way, because survivor's guilt isn't rational. It's not about logic or morality. It's about the brain trying to make sense of trauma. And Nancy's brain made a choice. It chose survival over sentiment. It chose moving forward over staying stuck. And honestly, that's what heroes do. They carry the weight. They bury the pain. They keep fighting even when it costs them their soul. So when people ask why Nancy's so obsessed with defeating Vecna, it's not just about saving Hawkins. It's about proving she's not the girl who let Barb die. It's about rewriting her story so she's the warrior, not the coward. It's about killing the guilt that's been eating her alive since season 1. And here's my season 5 prediction. Nancy won't defeat Vecna by being stronger or smarter. She'll defeat him by finally admitting the truth, that she wanted to be free of Barb, that she chose herself over her friend, that she's carried that shame for years, and it's turned her into someone who fights but never heals. And when she admits that, when she stops running from the guilt and finally faces it, that's when she'll be truly free. Not because she's forgiven, but because she's finally honest. Because the scariest thing in Stranger Things isn't the monsters. It's the truth we bury about ourselves. And Nancy's been burying hers since episode 1. So here's the real question. Is Nancy Wheeler a hero or a survivor who convinced herself she's a hero? And honestly, maybe there's no difference. Because survival is the most heroic thing of all, even when it's ugly, even when it's selfish, even when it means letting go of the people we loved. Nancy Wheeler didn't want Barb to die, but she wanted to be free. And sometimes, those two things are the same.